One of the most creative and innovative fly tyers I personally know is a man by the name of Tim Fox from Poopah, California. Tim came up with the Fox's pupa many years ago and literally changed the game for caddis patterns here in Northern California. There's a million variations of this fly, and it's, one of those flies that inspired many more after it. What I'm going to show you today is how to tie a early spring variation of the fox caddis pupa. All right, we're going to start out with an Eric's FW 560, size 14, traditional nymph hook. I'm tying this a little bigger than, say, probably the natural is, just because I am using this usually in the spring in some off-color water, probably. I'm going to use a black 7/64 plummeting tungsten bead and 8/0 black thread. I'm going to start by laying a nice thread base down up to the bead. Next, I'm going to take some just small copper wire. You use this as a rib.
Okay.
Tack it right next to the hook shank.
Let me check. You want to actually physically talk to somebody. Right, that's the challenge these days, right?
Next, and kind of the variation here, and one of the things I like to do is I'm going to take some strands of peacock herl. And traditionally, this fly is going to have some sort of flash on the underbody. But the variation that I like here is to throw some peacock herl under there instead of the flash that Tim would traditionally use. I usually use about 3 strands. That'll get you to where you need to be. I'm going to take that, just palmer it around, and I tie in the tips so that as I go forward, those fibers naturally taper. And again, this is going to be in lieu of the traditional flash that the pattern would have.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for calling back. So we've inquired about the line.
Trim that excess. Then I'm going to take a olive. I tend to use olive. This is medium vernal. Okay, you can use darker olive or lighter olive. Tim would traditionally tie this pattern in olive or a tan or off color. Just take a piece of it. I always like to burn the end just to give it that kind of nice end. Unravel a bit off the card. And then again, this is just going to sit right on top. Tie it down right there. Trim it. Take your wire. And you're going to use that wire to tack it down, giving it a nice olive body over that peacock herl.
Okay, yeah, that's well, yeah. That's fine. Yeah, no, that'll be great. And his next question, he's going to be tying at the
Kind of clean it up like that. Next thing I'm going to do is take a piece off this hen. And I'm going to use this feather here. I'm going to pull off a chunk of it. I'm going to tie this underneath the hook as legs. Right like that. Now you can use mallard flank or something else, but I like this just to give it a little different color palette. Then you take a mallard flank feather here. I'm going to take 2 fibers. Make sure they got their points. Take those. Use that natural bend and set them right on top. These are going to be your antennas for that caddis pupa. Like that.
I don't need a face.
I'm going to take, and you can use black or brown. I like to use brown. Brown ostrich herl. And I'm going to take 2 strands like this. You kind of pull the fibers out to see where those nice fibers start. I'm going to tie it in right at the tip or a little back from the tip, basically where those nice fibers start.
Yes. And then we need
Trim the excess, then take those. Pull the fibers back as I palmer.
Yeah, Dennis, Loon and I were talking about it.
Pull it tight to sink it in there and kind of seat it behind that bead. Just like that. Give it a few wraps.
Yeah. It's the bottom. Yeah, which is not home.
Push it in there. Kind of tack all that in there. Seat it all behind that bead. And then tie it off.
And it's local, so you don't just serve it. That's dark. Yeah, it's fantastic. And I'm gonna call him my big thing. Great, thank you.
There you go. A variation of a really popular caddis pattern, and something you can fish in the spring for that spring caddis hatch. Maybe a little higher water type of pattern, a little bulkier, and something you can take out on your own.